Is it, this thing showing up? Okay. Well, that was annoying and weird. The stream stopped like 3 minutes into it, and I didn't check it. No idea why, but that's. I don't want to be censored by YouTube, but that's flippin' annoying. So we'll see. So I guess I'm gonna break down what I've done so far, and then we'll get into fixing the one little bug that was popping up. So I've done a bit of stuff. The first thing I did was set up the things that don't involve sprites. So I've got the little divider line. I'm just drawing that on the canvas, and the scores right here. So again, just 0, 0. They're starting off like that. And then I am drawing them, and I just made the divider line just a separate function, so we can take it in and out however we want pretty easily. The next thing I did was make sprites for the balls and the paddle. So I set them all, made everything white, just white on the black background was how everything was set up before, and kind of the original Pong. I gave the ball an initial speed and direction, just kind of randomly going. So you can kind of see it's picked a very vertical one, so it's almost perfectly moving up and down for forever. We have all of that there. The next thing I did was go in and make 2 different groups of sprites. And I used this for loop to set everything up, but I have 4 invisible sprites, one on each side of the canvas, but they're placed just off of it so we can't see it. The ones on the top and the bottom, those are things just bounce off of it. So the paddle here bounces off, the ball bounces off, that's it. But the ones on the left and right, because that's what controls whether or not a player scores, I've put them in a different group, and I'm adding a callback function. So we can see right here, the ball bounces off of the bounce group, and so on. The ball bounces off of the paddles. That's something we'll get back to later. But whenever it collides with the score group, it will make the player score go up by using the score callback function right here. I'm just saying if it's on the left side, we're going to make the right player score go up. If it's on the right side, we'll make the left player score up, and then we'll teleport it to the middle, and the ball will keep its momentum in whatever direction. So there is that. I have here a function to flip the direction. This is a 1-player version of the game, so this paddle is just going to move up and down for forever. So basically the way I have it here is this paddle is just going to be following the mouse position. It's currently disappeared, and we'll get to that in a second. But then I have function automate here. So really, I don't even need function automate. That's just a bit redundant. So I'm actually going to get rid of that and just say this right there. And so basically, whenever it collides with the bounce group, just like the ball, we don't want it to just bounce off like normal, but we want it to just change direction, moving up and down. So I've got this set up so it's just saying, is the ball on the top half of the screen? If so, move it down. If it's on the bottom half of the screen, make it move up. So it's just moving in those directions. Pretty straightforward. I run this again. What's happening? Oh, yeah. There we go. So we've got all that. Boom, the score went up. Score is going up. Eventually, this will line up where it will bounce. But it will notice something happens whenever that does. We're going to watch for a second. I'm going to check here. This says I'm still live, so, that's great. Again, I'm visiting family for a break. The Wi-Fi isn't as great as my internet at home, and we have the whole family on it, so boom, there it happens. You notice that now this is only moving up and down, and the paddle has, moved off to the side. That's a bit of a problem. So what we want to do is keep the paddle from leaving the screen and make the ball move. I think there's a few ways we can pull that off. We could instead, I'm going to try this first. Paddles dot bounce off of ball. I'm just going to see what this does. Boing. Okay, nope, didn't work. Same thing. All right. Sometimes it can get a little picky with the order of stuff. So I'll leave that at ball dot bounce off of the paddles. I don't want to set them to immovable. So let's say instead, let's move that down here. We'll say call this function instead, and then it's just we'll always say our paddle dot position dot y is going to equal, and what do I say it there? Our paddle dot position dot y 50. That's why I want x, not my width divided by 10. And then L, not width divided by 10, width minus 10. L paddle dot position dot x going to equal 10 every time. And now I think this will just overwrite the stuff. So let's test that. Boing. Okay. Not bouncing how I want it to bounce. I just want it to boing off of it without this other one moving. But if I set the immovable property of the paddle to true, I mean, I could try that, but I don't think I'd be able to control. Oh no, that's still there. If this works, that would be great. I need it moving towards the left. Okay. So that's too high. Boing. Okay, maybe. Boing. There we go. Okay, so that does work, but we can still do the stuff. That's weird. I'm just gonna instead set that property once and see how that goes. Okay, so that did figure. That's what I wanted to do, but I thought that that would overwrite the automatic movement. I guess not. Oh, hey, look, we're still streaming. You know, that's weird. Okay. So I've got all of that there. That, I mean, honestly, that's just about it. I'm just going to move this out of here and put it back there because there's no need to call a function for a single line. But this is effectively it. You'll notice that, again, the score goes there. It'll bounce off the paddles. It'll go the other direction when it bounces. It bounces off of the ceiling and the floor, how we want it to. The side paddle moves automatically. The left paddle follows the mouse so a player can control it. The only thing is that I want the ball to change direction when we score. So ball.position. Let's work this out right here in the score. So we've teleported it to the middle here. We say ball dot set. Let's do it like this. Up here, ball dot set speed. Again, I'm gonna keep the ball always at 5 pixels per frame, and then I want it to be when up there. I want it to happen on this side. Then we get into a bit of an issue. I know. I'll set a few predefined angles. That's what I'll do. Let angles one be an array. So let's say on this side we'll say 0, 45, 360 minus 45, 315, 300, 80. Why not? 60. I'll pick those, and then let angles 2 equal an array, and in that case we're gonna flip it over. So I'll start with 180 right in the middle. Let's go to halfway between 180 and 270. Would be 2. I'm just kind of arbitrarily picking some stuff. 245. We'll put that at 35. 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 2 more. Let's say it's gonna be less than 270. That's already kind of up there, so we'll say between 90 and 80 would be 1. Already at 135, 200, 245. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Why am I having a hard time with just picking some random numbers is the hardest part of this. There we are. There's some numbers. So instead, down here, when we flip them, we will say set speed random angle from angles 1. And then I'm just gonna copy that. Oh, no, that is not correct at all. I want this one down here. Random from angles 1. And then down here, random from angles 2. So let's try this again. So now the ball is moving. We score and it goes the other direction. We score and it goes the other direction. I think I know what happened right here. We've got a bit of an issue with the stretch. Like it's probably stuck in the corner right there. So let's see. Oh, look, we're still streaming this time. So let's see. Let's go ahead and save it just to be safe. So the ball is currently stuck at a spot and it can't reach the score position, which is not what we want to have happen. So I think this is going up here with this. So instead, let's just remove the displacing in the walls. I think that'll fix that. Let's just run it. Alright, so we got that there. And that's only happened a few times since I've done this, so hopefully, that won't be a thing. Maybe soon. The score is a little offset because in the original Pong, it takes a second to return. Yeah, that should have happened already. Okay, something's weird with the corners. So that bounced how I wanted it to. That bounced, bounced, bounced. Okay, something is weird here. I can't see. Well, I'll just make this big because no one's going to come into the chat anymore. Let's tell me this is a set amount just so I can see what might be happening. That's weird. So score group, we made it a new group. So we're adding the bounce group, the ones on the top and bottom, bounce off, and we're adding the ones over here to the left and right to the score group. That should be fine. We're drawing our divider. That's fine. We're having the ball bounce off of the bounce group, and it is colliding. When we run the score function, whenever it gets that. So for some reason, we can't see what's happening. Let's see if just look. So whenever we notice that it's stopped acting properly, let's check the console. Still going. Okay. So I think there's just a hair of space between the sprites. So you notice this goosh going forever down and down. So let's just adjust these positions right here. My goal was to create a box, but there may just be a slight space. So let's make the bounce group a lot wider. So instead of width, let's just say, let's make it twice the width. You know what? I'll do it like this. Width times 2, width 2, and then we'll go height times 2 and height times 2. So now it should be physically impossible for there to be any kind of empty space that these balls can slip through because they're there and these sprites are overlapping. So I'm just going to let this run for a second, and if we run into that issue again, it's going to be something else. But it seems already like it's working a little bit better. That being said, I can make this potentially a bit wider. So instead of, let's say, 150 and negative 150, just so we can get a little bit more time between everything happening. My internet connection is really chunking along right now, I think. we will see. It's kind of iffy. But you know, it's someone did come into chat. Hello, Fred. I had that minimized. Yes, I had that minimized because it was acting up. But now I think, outside of the fact that I can see these frames happening so slow, I think that's just about it. I always want to get rid of my console.log. Maybe that'll help, but it seems to be working right now. So again, just to break this down again through its final steps and wrap it up. So I started off with everything that didn't need P5 play and sprites. So the divider, pretty simple. I just made, we just go down here to my function, I just made a for loop. There we go. The score and the text, I just, I'm storing it in a variable, and as we increase the score, it's just displaying it up on the screen. It's pretty minimal. From there, I made the ball and the paddles up here in setup. And these are just some variables, store them as, as sprites, set them all to be the white color, kind of like the more traditional, like original versions of Pong. For the paddle that's automated, I gave it a set speed right at the beginning, so it's just going to start moving. And then I've set them both to have immovable equals true. This was a little counterintuitive, and again, because I didn't plan this at all, it took me a second to figure it out. So when we set the immovable to true, now when the ball bounces into it, the ball will bounce off and the paddle won't move. That was becoming a problem. It would essentially remove all of the horizontal momentum from the ball, and it would move up and down, and the paddle would go off for infinity. We don't want that. So now I've set that to immovable, and we're manually moving the sprites otherwise. I've then just added them to a group to make things down the line a little bit easier. I've got some sprites that we can't see here, kind of acting as walls. And I've put the top and bottom one in one group and the left and rights in another. So if the ball essentially bounces off of the top or bottom of the screen, it will just bounce, and that's it. If it it interacts with these invisible sprites on the left and the right, let me just go down to that function right here. We'll see, did it, was it the left one or the right one? And if so, it'll increase the appropriate score, give it a new direction. Basically it'll flip it. So if it goes off the left side here, the next time it'll go to the right. There it is. And vice versa, and then it just teleports to the middle, and that's that. Let's see, and then this paddle, I've got another similar thing set up of, if it's on the top side of the screen when it hits this this invisible wall sprite, it's going to move down, and it's going to move up, and from there on. And that's basically it. This is a lot simpler, when you plan things out, but then when you don't have to set up all of the math yourself. So again, if you check the description of this video, you should have there. Ooh, I've got a tip. Use switch statements instead of mini-chained if else, if else, if else. I like that idea. I'm trying to keep it like base level, but I'll have to look into that and maybe make an updated version. So thanks. I'll put that in the comment afterwards. But yeah, that's just about it. I'm going to wrap it up because I've been doing this for an hour and I've already tried once, and the stream didn't work the first time, and I'm still upset about that. I don't know why it ended, but I'm going to blame my family members on the Wi-Fi. All right. Well, I will see you all next time I see you. Hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed it, do all the like, subscribe, general YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next time.